Hi, everybody. Okay, so there's a Married with Children reboot coming, and everybody kind of been asking when I was going to do this. And I said, well, I really wanted to hear more about the plan and what everything was and wasn't. Was it going to be from Kelly's point of view? Um, was Al going to be a great grandfather? You know, were they going to do it from the dog's point of view? Were they going to do it from uh, Katie uh, Katie's perspective, which was the wife, Peggy. How were they going to reboot this? And was it just going to be like 10, 20 years past and all of a sudden we'll drop back in the middle of it? How is this actually going to work? Well, MTV is putting this out. I've seen this out by Maxim. I've seen this out by a number of different things. And everybody keeps saying this, and Katie Segal finally came out and said, yes, there's a reboot plan coming. Sony's involved in this. This is going to supposedly be very big, and one of the biggest things they were talking about was that Married with Children technically doesn't need to continue on because it never really ended. It kind of just dropped off, supposedly. At least that's the way they look at it from the character perspective. But basically, the director, I forget the guy's whole name, but his first name is David, approached Katie Segal, and basically they said everybody was on board. Ed, Christina, Katie, they all told David, yes, they would totally do a reboot. It's a continuation. Supposedly, Bud Bundy is going to be the main focus. And she basically said, I suppose there's a certain value in rebooting some of that, but I'm not quite sure what it is. If you actually have a story to tell about those people, the only reason a Married with Children reboot might make sense to me is that it never really ended. So it might be nice to see it end. And they're going to try to upgrade it a little bit. The project basically involves casting everybody that was in it. I haven't heard that Marcy will not be in it, but I don't really know. And they say that, they've already planned a few Grandmaster B appearances. And, there's a lot of slapstick going on. And they're trying to get it as original as possible. Supposedly, from what I've understood, is Bud comes back from college. He can't get a job. And guess where he ends up working? The shoe store. That's what I've heard. And basically, he takes over the mortgage of the house. And everybody basically has had kids. The dog may or may not be around. I don't know if Bud is still around. But it'll definitely be interesting to see how this absolutely comes out, because this was a great series, and I watch it even decades later, and I imagine millennials probably watch it going, oh my god, that's so ghetto, or however they speak. Oh my god, that's so racist, man. How could you guys be that racist? Well, we weren't sissies like you. Oh. So anyways, Married with Children reboot is an actual thing coming. Now, I'd like to know how many of the original people, the non-primary Bundy family, is actually going to be on this. Because I've heard that they've approached the person who does Marcy, and she said no. I've heard that she said yes. I've heard she said they'll think about it, or she'll think about it rather. And basically, she wasn't looking forward to the chicken jokes. They even wanted to do something where, and this is what I've heard, where supposedly Bud and her end up shacking up. That's what I heard. She divorced what's his face, and Bud became of age. Things happen. They have a kid or something. I don't know. I've heard all kinds of crazy stories coming out of this, and all you gotta do is just get online and just start reading. It's ridiculous how much propaganda is being put out on this. So Marcy may or may not be an in-law of the Bundys, or not an in-law, but a So, anyways, this sounds like it could actually work. Although I don't believe that the guy that played, Bud Bundy actually has the same kind of humor as the guy that played Al. I just don't see it happening in the same manner, but I think what we're going to see is a redefined version, but it is in no way going to be the classic we know and love. I think it's either going to surpass it or not quite make it there. But I don't know. I've heard all kinds of rumors this way and that way about this. Applegate supposedly married that biker guy and had a couple children. They're going to come in the opening scene with mohawks on or something. All sorts of different things. Whether or not Applegate's going to be a successful model or not, I don't know, but we'll see how it all works out. So, this is Married with Children reboot coming, and there's about 4 or 5 different sources I'm going to bring you. And you can go online and look for others. So, it'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out. And I can only imagine the pilot episode in and of itself. I mean, I've heard some crazy ideas from like the guy sitting there, drawing it out on paper, and some of the writing stuff that's been leaked on the internet and stuff. And obviously at this point there's probably everybody and anybody trying to leak their own version of what a pilot would be like. At least even in the writing portion of it, Bud comes home from college, graduating day, says, I finally made it. Fast cars, fast women, everything is great. 2 months later, he's working at the shoe store with Dad. I can already imagine it. Oh, you went to college, huh? Oh, that's nice. Now you're here. Ha ha ha. How'd that work out for you, son? Not so great, not so great. Well, son, never mind. And you kind of get that story. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how this goes. Especially if Al's character makes a lot of appearances and they can get it back to the original, the original situation like it was. I think it'll make some pretty good comedy.